Hi guys, it's Kirsty. This video is about emotionlessness. So when you're feeling really numb, you're not feeling not even feeling anxiety or sadness. But firstly, if you would like to receive updates as videos are released on YouTube, please do subscribe by clicking on subscribe button below. So emotionlessness. So obviously one of the key principles of OCD that makes it feel so real is that not only do we experience these repetitive thoughts with anxiety, but we get them the corresponding emotions that come in with the thoughts that help to convince us that it's real. So whether that's if we have a thought about harm, for example, if we may get emotions of thinking that we like the thought, so we might get the emotion of excitement, or we might get the emotion of horror at having had the thoughts, and all of that might come up with anxiety. Or if you were, for example, suffering with relationship OCD or OCD that makes you question your sexuality, it might be that you get the sort of emotional feeling of dread come up when you have the thoughts, or that you might get the feeling that you like the thoughts, you like the idea of liking that sex, or you're aroused at the idea of liking that sex, or you're aroused at the thought of being with someone other than your partner, or that you're liking the thoughts of being single when you're in a relationship. So these kind of various emotions might come up, and sort of to convince you, that makes it feel all the more real. But what this video refers to is when you've been suffering for a while and you've had very high anxiety, what about when you just the emotions just aren't there? It doesn't mean you're not getting things come up with the thoughts in terms of, that make it feel all the more real, but the other emotions that you expect to feel in life, whether it's joy or compassion or sadness or horror at or something that you see on the news, it's when these emotions aren't coming up at all and you feel like they should be. It's how we might feel about that, and how that can then perhaps lead to further obsession. So that's it could even end up giving OCD more ideas and more ammunition to come up with some other creative ideas about what's going on with you or what might be wrong with you as a person. So I just want to give some examples of this, and how you can maybe go about processing it and learning to kind of accept it and not get hung up on it or ruminate about it. So firstly, it might be that there's a lack of that it's not so easy to feel affection or love towards people that you count as your loved ones. So whether that's your partner, your children, your friends, your parents, your siblings. So it's you can't summon that feeling of affection, that sort of love. It's almost an undescribable feeling. So obviously this is a big one in relationship OCD, but this can crop up when you've been struggling with any theme as almost like a byproduct of having maybe been doing so many internal compulsions, checking of your feelings, checking what emotions crop up when you have thoughts. You've been anxious for so long, you're tired, you're so maybe stuck on your theme still that all you care about is trying to resolve that theme. So this can be very difficult because it's not being able to feel the feeling of connection with other human beings, which can be scary in itself because quite a lot of the OCD themes are related to feeling a lack of connection. So it could be very easy to get stuck on to suddenly start maybe obsessing relationship OCD about your kids or your partner or your parents or something because you're kind of struggling with a lack of affection here. But what I would say, whether it's a relationship OCD, whether that's the main theme or any other theme, if you are experiencing this, what I would recommend, just from my own personal experience, is just act as you normally would, because those people in your life deserve you know, they deserve your attention, and doesn't mean you can't go and make a cup of tea for your parents, and you don't have to ruminate over the lack of feelings. And actually, in a couple of the books on the reading list, At Last a Life and Self-Help for Your Nerves, both authors talk about how a feeling of kind of numbness and apathy can come up after you've been suffering with anxiety for long periods of time. So if you could just try and remember this and let yourself off for it, try not to ruminate over it if you can. Don't try and summon the feelings of love. Just take it as a, you know, a byproduct of the condition of suffering from anxiety for so long. It is difficult, but just because you're not feeling love doesn't mean you can't act in loving ways, and doesn't mean you can't ask if the people are doing okay, and, you know, show caring towards them, and, you know, act with compassion towards your loved ones, because again, sort of the feeling of compassion might be something that you're struggling to summon up. But actually, compassion is, if you view it as maybe a behaviour rather than a feeling, it's, I'm showing you that I'm compassionate towards you. I'm being kind to you when you're struggling. You know, if your partner, child, parent, friend is having a bad day, you can act with compassion even if you don't feel it. Even if the things that you're thinking inside are, well, you might have just got laid off your job, but I might be a murderer. So, you know, your problems don't compare to mine. Just because you might be thinking that, you don't necessarily have to act in line with that. You can act and behave in a compassionate and caring and loving way. So you get to still choose who you show love to and who you show compassion to, even if you're struggling to feel those emotions currently. And you don't have to beat yourself up about it, and you don't have to feel like you're lacking or that you're not fulfilling your role to that person just because you can't feel the right way, because there's never a right way to feel, really. That's irrational, saying there's a right way to feel in certain circumstances, because it's something that's made up by society. And, you know, you can feel a range of emotions, conflicting emotions. For me, each day, you know, I might feel happiness in a moment, but miss my mum, who is no longer with us, and feel sadness at the same time. That's conflicting. Therefore, you know, on a very special day, for me, for example, wedding day, I will miss my mum, but I would also be happy. So I will have times when I feel sad. Now, technically, you're not supposed to feel sad on a wedding day, but does that make me wrong and mean that I shouldn't be getting married that day? So what I'm saying is, there's no correct way to feel at any time. You can't necessarily control what comes up feelings wise. So it's really more helpful where you can to go with the flow there. So that was just the last example I wanted to give, is, you know, the holiday season and holidays generally, whether you're going on vacations, if you don't feel excited and things, it's okay. It doesn't mean you won't have a nice time when you're there. You can't, you know, you can't manufacture those kind of emotions. Leave OCD to manufacture the emotions. It's damn good at that. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you are struggling to feel emotions, please know that you're not the only one. I'm right there with you on certain occasions, as are many other people who watch videos on this channel, who make videos on this channel. All of us will have experienced it at some point and potentially be experiencing it at the moment. So don't beat yourself up about it, because you've beaten yourself up enough already. But thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.